Good afternoon, everyone. This is the second video on QA dashboard. The first video was mainly talking about how you set up and install this dashboard in a local. And once everything is done, this second video will talk about basically what are all the features of this QA dashboard. Okay. So to start with, this is the home page, and if, like I said, if your company have multiple entities, then all the entities should appear in this drop down. Because right now we have only set up for payment gateway, so we will select payment gateway and submit. And this is the first page which comes out after you submit your entity name, the test coverage. So on the left side you will see 4 pages: test coverage, automation stability, bug metrics, and code coverage. We will talk about each page in detail one by one. So starting with test coverage. Test coverage is basically showing your automation test coverage. Like, let's say you have 1,000 test cases in your company. Out of 1,000, let's say 800 can be automated. Then out of 800, how many are automated? So we will show that kind of coverage here. Okay. So all these sort of numbers are coming from TestRail. But if you have any other test management tool also, then also that can be integrated. So if you see here, then this first page is showing data of whole company or whole entity. Basically, company and entity means same thing here. Okay. So payment gateway as a company, the full automation coverage as of today is 64%, let's say, where total automatable test cases is for 4,881, and out of this 3,165 are already automated so far. That means 64%. So this is full automation coverage. Now to go deeper, because we should always automate things based on priority. So these are P0, P1 specific numbers. So out of 4881 tests, basically 1619 are P0. So out of these tests, 1280 are automated. So hence 79%, and same for P1. Then second chart is count of new tests automated in last 7 days, or basically whatever filter you will use. So if you see here, this is scroll label. So whatever filter you want to choose, you can put here, and even custom dates also. Okay. So let's say I just select last 30 days. Then you will see data for that. Let's say last 90 days, then data for that, and so on. Okay. Last 30 days, last 15 days, and whatever data is you want to get, or even let's say from start of the year, let's say. Okay. I mean, let to save time, let's not go there. Basically all the filters will work fine, whatever you will select. Okay. So this is showing count of new test cases automated. Okay. So if you want to see previous count also, that is also here, but that is by default toggle off. And incremented, so everything is toggleable, means you can enable, disable it. So incremented, decremented, and previous count. So incremented means in last 15 days, team J has automated 13 tests and 2 test cases were deleted. So you might question back, like, why deleted? So as we go along, some of the features get deprecated or get changed. So some of our tests also get deprecated or changed. Hence we have to delete some tests. Okay. So that is the reason 2 tests are deleted. And like here, team G deleted 10 tests because their feature might have deprecated and so on. So this gives you clear visibility, like which team is doing automation regular basis, which is struggling, and so on. Let's say last 90 days. Then for last 90 days, team J has performed very well because 166 test cases has been automated by this team in last 90 days. While other teams, let's say team O, this has only automated 3 test cases in last 90 days. So if you have to compare multiple teams, then you know, like, which team is working great and which team is struggling. Okay. And this is second chart, which gives you automation coverage of all the teams you have. Okay. So P0, P1, and again full coverage is by default off, but you can toggle it. Or let's say you just want P0 coverage of all teams, then that is also done. Okay. And if there are more teams here, then scroll bar will come here, so you don't need to worry about UI distortion and so on. Okay, then third chart is about overall test case distribution as of today. So this chart basically talks about overall test cases including manual test case. Okay, so let's say you just want to know like which team has maximum manual test cases, then just uncheck all and keep manual. So if you see here, these are the only manual test cases which are not part of automation. So this way you can see like which team has a lot of test cases and which team has a lot of manual or a lot of P0 and so on. This is again to give you overall comparison across multiple teams. Now let's say you want to deep dive into one specific team, then that is also doable. Just select from this drop down that particular team. Let's say I just select the onboarding. Okay, or before that, let me because the number of teams coming here are too much, so there is one more feature which is like pod view. Let me just explain about that. So in query parameter, you have to just pass pod view equals to 1. So what is pod? Pod is basically a group of teams. Okay, so let's say 5 teams can be part of one group. So this is very helpful for leadership because they don't want data for each team, but let's say for only pods, because on one pod there can be one QA manager or let's say QA lead and so on. So that will be very good to compare the leaders perspective data as well. Okay, so these are 4 pods in my company. Okay, and let's say I want to just deep dive on, let's say, onboarding team itself, then I will just select pod onboarding. Then the data which is coming here is only about onboarding team, okay, or onboarding pod to be precise. So this is full coverage for the same type of data, full coverage of this particular team, then P0, P1, and then this gives the actual number of how many test cases you have for automation. Out of them, how many are automated, so that you can understand what is the gap. Okay, so yellow is already automated, blue is total automatable test cases. So this is for P0, this is for P1, P2 and others. And then last chart is trend. Let's say you want to see like how this particular team has incremented or decremented test in last couple of months or basically days, and you can see trend as well. And depending on what filter you choose, the data will update here. Okay, so that's it. If you want to go back, then just click on this particular label. Okay, so if you click back, then you will go to the main page. Okay, so this is test coverage. So test coverage is done. Now second is automation stability. So the point is, okay, you have automation, but how good or how stable that automation is. So this page will talk about that data. Okay, so stability means what is your pass percentage of particular automation. So for example, for whole company, the pass percentage is 90% for regression test cases on staging for last 90 days. Okay, that means we are running 2284 tests. Out of that, 2056 are passing every day for last 90 days. Sorry, for last 90 days, yes, and 90% is the pass percentage. On sandbox, we don't have automation, hence 0. On production, we have some automation, hence production number. Then in here, you will see the average regression pass percentage. So again, this is for comparison basis. You want to understand which team is having less percentage. So that is, for example, payout. This means you need to focus on payout team more, and you need to deep dive and understand why they have a lot of failures in regression. And same data for production also. Then third one is regression execution time. Execution time is how much time it takes to execute one build. Okay, so that is also here. Like I said, this is all pod view, but if you want to like disable pod view, then just go again pod view equals to 0. Okay, now you will see all the teams here instead of pods. Okay, and yeah, so I was talking about execution time. So you want to see how much time each team build is taking, then this is the average out. Okay, so if you see, then maximum time taken is 18 minutes and that is only for 1 minute, one team. For others, it's less than around 12 or less than 12, and average of all is only 6 minutes. Okay, and this contains API and web test as well, and same data for production also. And in using this toggle, you can also understand how many tests are executing. So basically, if let's say one team is taking too much time, then is it that that team is having a lot of test cases, or there are other problems? So this will give you the exact count of tests executed versus time taken. Okay. So for example, only 8 minutes took to execute 742 tests. That is very huge. Okay. Again, this is data for whole company, and to compare all the teams. But if you want to deep dive into one team, then just select that team and go from there. Let's say I will just select team A. Now here you can see that staging, they have 87% is production, sandbox they don't have, production they don't have. And in here you can see the scroll bar because a lot of data is coming. These are all the automation builds. If you want to go to any build, let's say this is 71 and you want to deep dive and understand why this is very less, then you will just click on this and you will go to that part. This is the result URL. I will not click on this, but you can go from there to the result dashboard, basically result report as well, where you can see which test got failed and so on. And then these data are more of trend charts. This is for average daily percentage, and this is for execution time. And last one is group wise test, tag, basically tag or group wise test. So we are showing staging regression, staging staging regression, total test cases, then past test cases, then sandbox data, then production data. You can toggle these things. Okay, and if you want to go back, just click on the team name, and we are back to the main page. So this is automation stability. Now third one is bug metrics. Bug metrics is basically let's go there. Bug metrics is basically talking about mainly manual testing and also how automation is helping in testing. So in here you can see that in last 90 days, or the whole company has tested 1703 Jira tickets. Out of that, they have found 809 staging bugs and 49 leaked on production. Okay, because data is too much here, so I will just enable pod view for easy understanding. Pod view equals to 1. Yep. So if you see here, then pod surfaces, this is data for production, count of production bugs in last 90 days. So in last 90 days, pod surfaces got 24 issues, means this means 24 bugs got slipped to production. And for others, this is kind of less. So this means you know that pod surfaces is releasing many bugs on production. This team is struggling while other teams don't have that much data. Okay, so this is based on number of bugs, but sometimes it can also happen that number of bugs doesn't mean that particular team is having a lot of issues. It can also mean that that team is doing a lot of work. So second, this chart is helpful to understand that perspective. Okay, so this talks about how many tickets you tested and how many production bug got leaked. Okay, so I call it production bug ratio, some people call it bug percentage. So basically the point is, if you test 100 Jira tickets, then how many production bugs are leaking. So here for Go-based surfaces, if you are testing 100 tickets, then 6.7 bugs are going on production, or you can indirectly say 6.7% of bugs are going to production. Then other teams also, for other teams also the similar data, and in here also you can see the surfaces is having problem, because for others it's 3.9, 1.5 and so on. And then similar data for staging. So like onboarding got 477 bugs in last 90 days, and then bug ratio and so on. Okay, so this is for whole company level, but if you want to deep dive into one team, then that is also doable. So let's say we will just select pod surfaces because this got lot of bugs. So this is data for surfaces, and right now this is showing data for staging and as well as production. Okay, you can change the environment from modify filter. So just select the whatever environment you want. Okay, by default it shows for both the environment. So this data is pretty much same like previous, and but for this particular team. The next chart is bug category. Bug category means are these bugs on front end side, back end side, or mobile side. Okay, so like for example on back end we got only 10 issues on production, EDC only 2, iOS 136, and null which are not tagged properly, and web 30. Okay, so these are for production and staging, all bugs combined. Let's say I just talk about production, then go. Okay, so if you see here backend, 2 bugs leaked into production for iOS 13 for which are not tagged properly 9, and web 2 tests, 2 bugs got into production. Then same is production bug found by, like who is reporting these bugs. Okay, or indirectly this also help you to understand how useful your automation is. So let me just select both the environments. Okay, so in here if you see, then by automation you got 20 bugs, via crashes you got 17 bugs, via incident you got 1, via manual testing you got 217 bugs, by others, and by real production users. And lastly you can see all the bugs which are like this plus this, or let's just say production. So these are all production bugs. Okay, so you can just click on the exact link if you want to deep dive and read proper details of that Jira. Okay, but this is the summarized view of Jira, like bug summary, then priority, then environment, bug found by, category, and current status. So this is the data about bug metrics and how automation is helping in testing. Then last one, yeah, and the same thing. If you want to go back, just click on the team name. Then last page is code coverage. So code coverage means developers unit test code coverage. Okay. So right now, because developers have a lot of repositories, so we also want to make sure that developers unit test code quality is also captured in this quality dashboard. Because intent of this dashboard is to have overall quality metrics at one place for whole company. Okay, so this means for whole payment gateway the current code coverage is 77%, and this is with respect to total lines. Okay, and then second chart shows like delta, basically the same thing, like how much incremented or decremented from the previous number. So like this, if you hide the previous count, then increment is in 2 teams and decrement it in 5 teams, and this is on the percentage. Okay, so they have decrement 6.7%, this is 6.67%, that is very huge. Increment is 0.28, and this is the previous count. So the intent of having this data is so that we can put the threshold, let's say 90% or 95% for every repository, and in case they have less than that particular threshold, then we will ask them to increase your unit test coverage instead of shipping new feature. Okay, then lastly it will show you the current code coverage for all the teams you have or all the services you have. And the same logic, you can select one particular team and see the data for that particular team. Okay, so for team A, like current code coverage is 68.84. then these are all the builds of unit test coverage. You want to see the results, you can just click on that and you can go to that particular report. So this is the link, you can just see the whole coverage report. And then last one is the trend, basically like how code coverage is increasing, decreasing on whatever filter you have choose. Yep. So yep, I think I have covered all the 4 sections. That's it about quality coverage, quality dashboard. Now let me also take 2 minutes to talk about some hidden features this dashboard have. Like one I have already told you, like that is pod view 1 or 0. Okay, so if you see pod view equals to 0, then basically all the teams data will show. If you say pod view equals to 1, then only pod specific data will show. Okay, if you say, then another next feature is dark view, or so dark view equals to 1, that is already there. Dark view equals to 0, then okay, I think something wrong. Okay, I think this feature is not working. I need to check on that. The third one is URL. I think you can already see that we can pass query parameters. So let's say you want to pass or share the exact dashboard and exact data points uh, with your team members. Then you can append exact query parameters. Let's say vertical name uh, equals to payment gateway, and enter. Basically right now we have, because only one one entity, hence it doesn't matter. But if we have multiple entities, then this is really helpful. Okay, then last one is like how it works. Basically all these filters, all these values get stored in the cookies or session storage. So if you want to clear all your cookies and session storage and want to use only default settings, then one is like you manually delete all those cookies and session storage, and the shortcut is you just click here. Okay, so by default if you click here, then it will clear all the cookies and redirect you to home page like this. Okay, and if you try to log in, sorry, if you try to open in next step, then also it will show you the home page, because cookies are all blank. But now let's say I save it. Okay, now cookies are all set again, and if you try to open again, then you don't need to select company. Okay, so meaning until you have all the cookies set, you don't need to select filters or company name again and again. By default all these values will be coming from cookies. And the downside is like if you are not able to access anything, then it might be due to cookies. So best way is just click on this one. Okay, whenever you find something is not working, just click on that and start from default settings. Okay, yep, I think that's all. So please do let me know if you need any other feature or you need any help. I am happy to help. Please connect me on LinkedIn. Thank you. Bye bye.